friends, family, and all others joining us today. Welcome to the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is a safe space to reset oppression ablaze. Because what else we gonna do with our lives? Oh shit. I think it's okay. I think everything is cool. I think everything is cool. My security detail is handling whatever issue is going on at the door, God willing. So anyway, shout out to the dog. Shout out to Top Flight Security, Bagheera Smokey out this biatch. But like I was saying, maybe that's COINTELPRO. I don't know who the fuck's at the door. But yeah. What else are we gonna do with our lives if not build better back? I hate that. I'm so mad at Joe Biden for saying build back better. But it's imperative, guys. I had an interview some years ago with a Haitian organizer, and I think actually he's been part of some of the BAP webinars pertaining to Haiti and supporting our brothers and sisters down there in Haiti. His name is David Oxygen. And I remember I interviewed him years ago for the Real News. And one thing he said to me has stuck with me for a long, long time is that this is a lifetime struggle, a lifetime struggle. So understanding that that's our mission, it's our duty, it's our responsibility to burn down the bullshit and restore it with some revolutionary shit. There's that. I'm so excited you guys are here. It's Friday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Well, I mean, yeah, listen, send a legitimate happy St. Patrick's Day going out to Damien, Stoner Loner, part of our fire fam. Is Damien here? Is Damien sober? Is the question. Well, Damien's never sober. Stoner Loner, hence his name, is usually smoky like the rest of us. But Damien, if you are imbibing today in celebration of St. Patrick, shout out to Jackie Lukman. I think on today's episode of By Any Means Necessary, I think she explained how St. Patrick's Day also has some colonialist heritage to it. I encourage you to go and get that history lesson, that real hold on me that clap history, that real history from Sister Jacqueline. But anyway, gang, we've got a good show in store for you tonight. Going to be talking about several things, including the story coming out of Central Virginia, out of Henrico County, of the 28-year-old Black man whom was experiencing a mental health crisis. He was taken into custody, and now 10 people have been charged in connection with his smothering death. It is an ongoing heartbreak, but with every single one of these, let it be a reinforcement to us that this is exactly how the system is supposed to work. We're going to hear some comments from his mother coming up a little bit later on in the show. We're also going to get into, I'm watching this US considering banning TikTok shit very closely, not because I'm an avid TikTok user. No, 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 no. But because the propaganda wars are very heavy with this one. And the whole bullshit smokescreen of the Biden administration wants to ban TikTok under the guise of national security. Let me tell you how nobody is falling for that bullshit. No, nobody is going for that, dog. Like, no, please. You all afraid that China has got a hold of Americans' personal information? Are you going to rein in these American based social media companies and other corporations for doing the same shit? No. Oh, well, then sit your ass down, Joe Biden. But we're going to talk about that shit because I think that how this plays out is going to end up being very interesting, regardless of whether or not ByteDance divests their financial interests in TikTok, or if TikTok just stops being offered in the US. Either way, I think the outcome is going to be fascinating. So we're going to talk about that. But before I do, hold on. Before I even get into my story, you know what time it is. I gotta say what's up to my people. Oh, I already saw my son Tyler in here. I see Anna in here. Who else do I see? I see Holly Horn. Do I see Latif? Oh, yeah. I see Wendy. And I see Spence Like a Dragon. I'm very excited to see you all. Nat A. Who else is in here? Lady Alex. Thank you so much for showing up and doing the thing. Who is that? Camille? Hey, Camille. Thank you so much for making some time. We appreciate that. Is that Quaker? Oh, it's Renee. It's like your girl Renee. You know I'd be excited to see Renee. I'd be excited to see the rest of y'all too. But when Renee makes time to come kick it with a homie, I appreciate that. Renee, I'm gonna be in your city April 13th. Mark it on your calendar. I would love to see you. All right, let's get into this because the real shit is going on across the pond. And big up to the UK contingent. I know some shit's going on over in the UK, some big, massive industry strikes happening there as well. We respect that. We send solidarity and we unite with that, in the words of Brother Kalanji Changa. But today we're going to France. What's up, Latif? Thank you so much, baby. Oh my gosh. You guys, Latif just gifted 5 channel memberships to 5 of y'all. And he's done that several times. Latif, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I hope you guys appreciate that too, because we do have some members only content over there in the playlists. Our AMAs, we do that the last Friday of every month. And Kim's Lost Tapes. I got a little playlist over there, Kim's Lost Tapes. Oh, spoiler alert. There's a video over on the Kim's Lost Tapes playlist that is not a members only video. And maybe Chuck D is in it. Maybe Be Real from Cypress Hill is in it. Who can really say? But if you guys want to check that out and don't have to be a member to do that, you can. But if you do become a member, like Latif just gifted these 5 channel memberships, interviews with Harry Belafonte. It's an audio only interview, so don't leave a nasty comment. Somebody said, "Hey, how come ain't no pictures?" And it says very clearly in the title, audio only. But regardless, interview with Harry Belafonte, interview with passed away transition comedian Ralphie May, and of course my Jay-Z interview is there as well. So accept Latif's channel membership gift or sign up to become a member yourself at whatever this is. Where are we? YouTube. My bad. Sometimes I get distracted by my lack of cohesive thought. But anyway, let's get to France. Because the shit is going down in France. Now, what's going down in France? Well, there's lots of things going down in France, but what is being reported has to do with the very unusual step taken by French President Emmanuel Macron. Monsieur Macron, Monsieur President Macron. Mr. Macron was determined to lower, or rather, raise the retirement age for French retirees, I believe from 62 up to 64. And the French are pissed. They are majorly pissed. And they have taken out to the streets by the millions for a number of sustained days because they look at this as some bullshit austerity and a way that Macron was able to circumvent the vote of the parliament. This was actually forced through, or rather enacted, without the full support of a up or down parliamentary vote. So basically, Macron just did whatever the fuck he wanted to do, and the French are not with that shit. And unlike the U.S., the French will go out into the streets and tear shit up. Now, I know the conservative arm of American politics would say, well, the Black Lives Matter in 2020, they destroyed cities, burned down cities. They don't ever have shit to say about what France does. When French get out into the Champs-Elysees, wherever else they be tearing up, the conservative right really doesn't have a lot of commentary about that. But I guess maybe they don't want their audience to be aware that France is actually doing that. Or maybe they look at French, which I'm sure they do, as a far left wing, whatever the fuck. And of course, they're rabble rousers. But no, if you want to talk about the Western interpretation of democracy, France started that, and they worsened it with colonization and their participation within the transatlantic slave trade. So any good that might have come out of so-called French democracy, colonization and the fucking slave trade fucking ruined that shit. And the ongoing neo-colonialism of the Caribbean and in parts of Africa, yeah, France sucks. But I love to see the domestic French getting out to the streets and tear shit up. So I want us to take a look at a couple of videos that we were able to find. And trust me, there's lots of videos. But then there's some sub actions happening even within this bigger action. But first, let's take a look at these pictures of some of the protest scenes. I'm not calling them riots. The mainstream that I was able to say, I was watching Sky News, and it appears as though the protests have turned into riots, cars burning, buildings, windows being smashed. I said, okay, whatever. So anyway, let's take a look at the pictures of the protest scenes coming out of Paris this week. Yay! Now, I don't speak the best French, but I'm pretty sure they were saying, hurry up, tear shit up, everybody burn it down. That's not what they were saying. That's not what they were saying. But anyway, and again, to me, those were even some of the tame scenes. And big up to Al Jazeera English for that very first clip, very dramatic and spooky with all the flames and shit burning at night. I'm like, Al Jazz, okay, calm down. This is not a Netflix dramatic special. But no, I mean, real scenes and real pictures there coming out of Paris as the people take to the streets by the millions. And even within some of these stated demonstrations, again, protesting the policies of austerity pertaining to the French's retirement age, courtesy of Emmanuel Macron. There's even some other actions within the actions. Now, Will, pop up that video where it says flash and then it has a hashtag. It's a French word, and it says the strike will be extended until Wednesday in Paris. Now, this video doesn't have any sound, so just go ahead and run it, and I will talk over it. Because even as the people in France, in Paris, have taken to the streets to protest these policies of austerity. Yeah, look at this, you guys. This is thousands of pounds of uncollected rubbish, of uncollected refuse. Piling up on the streets of Paris. Why? Because the sanitation workers have gone on strike to stand in solidarity with the other movements, the other actions that are happening across the country, not just in Paris again, but especially in Paris. And let me tell y'all, the Parisian bougies are pissed. They are mad. They are mad at this ongoing sanitation worker strike. Now the strike has been extended until next week. So, according to this tweet here, from CAFIA France, a news agency, says that more than 5,400 tons of waste have been accumulating in the streets of the capitale. Oui, oui. And the bourgeoisie, they are très angry. Ooh. Ils sont très upset. They are very upset. Ils sont très tristes. My French is terrible. Jesus. Anyway, so even within that, so shout out to the French sanitation workers. Don't pick up literally shit. don't pick up shit until Macron gets his shit together and make sure that it give the people exactly what they want. But even within that, there is another point of contention. Well, first of all, there's several ongoing points of contention always going on in France. A big up to the radical left, and especially to the African radicals, the Black French radicals out there who continue to organize and mobilize around a bunch of issues, including systemic racism, including police violence. Even in some of those scenes coming out of Paris, the police were there tear gassing folks. I don't know if any police is as brutal as American police. I mean, I'm sure there are. I mean, that's a sort of a naive statement, but I seem to think, well, I mean, American police shoot actual bullets. I don't know what the fuck they shoot in France, but they were shooting tear gas, which is chemical warfare. Let's make no mistake about that. But they're also the black radicals that is in France. They are organizing and trying to fight against these inhumane immigration policies that really the whole of Western Europe are just treating the migrants who are trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea, largely from Africa, even some coming from places like Afghanistan and Pakistan, letting migrants die, drown by the thousands, children included in that number. And that is a policy decision, much like what is happening at the southern border of the United States, where children were being the whole kids in cages shit, and keeping people at bay who are seeking legitimate asylum claims. These are policy decisions. People die not because these countries are poor, i.e., the United States and France, not because we can't not accommodate them, because racism dictates that we treat black people and brown people as less than, and France is extremely complicit in that. But there's something else going on that they're organizing against. Yeah, let's say against. I think against is fair. There's a tweet there. Pop open that tweet for me because it says so. I'm gonna read the tweet in a moment. But yeah, just hold it up there for a second. Hold it up there for a second because, as you guys know, Paris is expecting the 2024 Summer Olympics and Paralympics. And as which happens, as we've covered here on this channel, when the Super Bowl comes to town, or like what's going to happen in Los Angeles, I believe in is it 2028? It's soon. It'll be here before we know it. The Olympics there, where homeless people get displaced, where gentrification gets accelerated, to hasten the building and the accommodation of venues for the Olympics and to make sure that the Olympics get funding, and then the police get additional funding to rid the city of so-called undesirables. Well, in addition to that, what the planners and organizers of the Paris Olympics are going to do, what France intends to do, is to make this an opportunity to expand their surveillance state. So, who posted this tweet? Let's see. It says today 38 international organizations denounced the domestic surveillance of the JO. So when you guys see JO is Jeux Olympiques. So when you say JO, that's what they mean en français. The JO, the Jeux Olympiques. So this bill is called Article 7. And what it intends to do, it intends to make France the first European country to legalize algorithmic video surveillance. I can only assume, I can only assume algorithmic video surveillance means let the camera zoom in on every black and brown face 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 times. They're using this under the guise of security, obviously, for the Olympics. But what this will do, it will expand the surveillance powers of France to secure millions and the facial and the biometric data of millions of tourists that are expected to come to the 2024 Paris Summer Olympics. So hold on, let me pick up this piece really quick from Politico because they did a piece about this. Well, I don't have that on the doc, so don't look for it. But it says among the plans for the large scale real time camera system supported by an algorithm to spot suspicious behavior, including unsupervised luggage, and what did I say? And alarming crowd movements like stampedes. Yes. Senators on Wednesday, this was back in January, will vote on a law introducing that these new powers into uh, which is supposed to be temporary, by the way, it is not going to be temporary. With some lawmakers pushing to allow the controversial facial recognition technology to move forward. So what has happened is that I believe the French Senate has already approved this, and now it's supposed to go to yet another branch of the French government. But organizers are, and international organizations truly across the globe, are calling for no on Article 7, hashtag no on Article 7. Now, this shit must be bad. And I have to admit, like, I'm not fully grasping the context here, but it must be bad because we know that when it comes to biometric data and video surveillance, I mean, Europe, Europe is up, is right there underneath China. Not to say that America is not equally as bad, but Europe has been way out in front of the gathering of facial recognition and biometric data collection for some time. So you can only imagine how much further that these new powers would must go for French people to be so alarmed by this, considering how accustomed they must be to it already in their everyday lives. But this new expanded powers must be something pretty unfathomable. And I can only assume, again, as all of these technologies, because the main people that are in the tech fields are non-black, non-brown. So they bring their predetermined racial biases with them to the job when they start coding. And they say, who looks scary? Oh, Jean-Jacques, oh yeah, Jean-Jacques, brown, got big nose. Put him under the scary. Let's make those scary characteristics. And it goes on from there. So the people that are coming into town, I guess, for the for the 2024 Olympics, I hope all of this civil disobedience and civil disruption will actually disrupt that shit. They had a number of rolling road closures. Again, a lot of the shit I saw on social media was all in French, so I'm hitting that Google Translate like what. But they had a bunch of road closures because of the protests that were intentionally targeting some of the venues where the Jeux Olympiques will be held next year. So what if they are able to fully disrupt the Olympics? Do you think the French police will start shooting real bullets? They probably will start shooting the real bullets. Yep, and use that facial recognition to direct them to all the Negroes. Yes, put them right there. But here's the thing, y'all. Again, France, they do this. They get out in the streets and they will tear shit up. Since 2020, the willingness to get out in the streets and tear shit up does not seem to be there in America. Regarding the movement of Black lives, regarding the environmental crisis and catastrophes that we find ourselves in, regardless of the wars that the United States is doing. I mean, yeah, there's been some rallies and there's been some protests, but not like that we have seen here in 2020. And even as a nod to the anniversary, the 20th anniversary of the invasion of the war in Iraq, which I know, what was it, the People's Forum and Black Alliance for Peace are doing some actions this weekend in Washington, D.C. to commemorate the anniversary of the genocide of truly hundreds of thousands of Iraqi children, and the murder of millions of Iraqi citizens, and the displacement and the destruction that the United States and its allies, but led by the United States, did to Iraq. I mean, I was in them protests 20 plus years ago. They were millions of people, but we didn't tear shit up. That shit, to my recollection, shit did not get tore up. And the war went onward. The problem is, in France, the government, I believe, is afraid of the people. In the United States, the government is not afraid of the people. And that's where we need to change that power dynamic. Like, and I'm not exactly sure how to do that, because the last time people were in the streets en masse in 2020, defund the police became a very notable. Because you could tell I'm trying not to say slogan, right? I do not want to say slogan, but fuck it. Okay, policy demand became a notable policy demand that people happened to be screaming in chants when they were in the streets doing those protests. And what happened? The exact opposite. Police got funded more to the hilt. police forces were expanded. The U.S. Capitol Police Force expanded after white supremacists tried to take down the Capitol. I was rooting for them too, but regardless, American government ain't scared of us because they will shoot us. And I think that is a big difference, I think, between when there are actions that happen, especially in Europe, Western Europe. I'm talking about the West here, because we know that when the people of Peru, or when the people of Brazil, or when the people of Guatemala will rise up, their governments will absolutely shoot at them. But looking at these Western industrialized countries, if America includes itself with Western Europe in that sense, that is a big difference in the mindset of the people, I believe, because them people, the Britons, the French, whoever, will go to the streets and not even consider that police would murder them, right? Or maybe the white ones don't think. Maybe the black ones know better. I'm sure the Africans know better, but that's not what they do. They do not bang on the people in the same at the same rates that American police will bang on the people here. So I think culturally that is some differences, but I think, how can we shift that? Like, how can we make the state afraid of us and capitulate to us and do what we want them to do? The resistance that is still happening with the Stop Cop City movement, again, is going to be one that is going to tell the tale, I think, for the coming decades, about what the resistance movement and the leftist organizers are going to face. I can't even say coming decades, for shit, in the coming fucking months. We got 20 of our comrades charged with domestic violence. No, sorry, not domestic violence. My apologies. Domestic terrorism. Also violence. It is definitely also violence. I want to see Americans out in the street, but I'm afraid that we are too complacent, way too comfortable, and again, too afraid of the state ourselves to actually stand up to the state in any meaningful way. And the ways in which these movements have been suppressed and repressed, the overcharging of protesters defending the Atlanta forest, the ways in which the police came out and cracked down so heavily on the movements for Black Lives in 2020, I don't know. But I do have a theory coming up a little bit later in the show as to what could kick off a revolution of sorts. And I think if Joe Biden bans TikTok, I think everybody 25 and older, I mean, pardon me, younger, 25 and younger, I think that could be the kindling, the spark, perhaps, that the potential of a powder keg of a revolution needs. So we'll get into that in just a moment. Let me take a quick little pause here. What time is it? Oh, we're not doing too bad. Okay. Hey, let me see if we have anybody in here. Now, last Friday, gang, I apologize because I talked about Tucker Carlson, which invited a bunch of, clans people, clan light members of the White Citizens Council. They found us. I went back and looked at the chat. I'm like, y'all, not y'all, of course, but them niggas was talking shit. It said, you in the wrong place, baby, because let me pretend. I'd have a difficult time pretending that I care about what some Klansmen have got to say in the fucking chat. Pick shit at. What's going on? Who is that? Thank you so much for your super chat. And you say, Happy McGreen Day. Rock on, sister. Thank you so much. I asked my mama to take me to Vision Works so I can get some reading glasses. This says Al Zarin. Thank you so much, baby. I appreciate your super chat support. Wait. Speaking of support, hold on. Some people have ran us some bucks, and I finally wrote it down. And like I said, please, when you hear your name called, please stand and wave. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to A.R. Walker for your support. We appreciate you, George S. Genya. Thank you so much, George. Donnie, thank you so much, Dawn, for your support. Rosalba, thank you, baby. Big up to Carl L. Thank you so much, Marissa D. Love you, babe. Appreciate it. Charles H. and Alex P. Also Nicole W. We've got some amazing supporters out here, everybody. And again, I'm sorry, hold on. Yes, we are we accept rolling material support, even though we just wrapped up a fundraiser. But this is a Black woman led and centered and operated channel. So, broke. So I'm just kidding. No, maybe broke is overstating it. But hey, we appreciate all support now. We don't turn down support. That $2 support actually might be my favorite because I know the value of $2. Truly, I do. So I would just want to thank everybody, regardless of the level of support that you send. And truly, even the free support is invaluable. Your presence here, your participation in the chat. What up, Infinite Content? You're silly, Infinite Content. Infinite Content, so silly. So Infinite Content tags me on a lot of stories, and I use a lot of Infinite Content stories that he tags me on. So the last show, I shouted him out via his Twitter handle, just so everybody doesn't think that this is the Infinite Content show. So that's why I shouted him out. Infinite, you so silly. That's why I shouted you out as Soul Brother 215, sir. I know I'm silly, but I ain't ignorant. I know who you are, man. I don't want everybody to think this is the Infinite Content show. That's all, dog. That's so when I shout out Soul Brother 215, that's my code for saying this is an Infinite Content story. But I feel like I have credited Infinite Content far too many times. You've earned it, no doubt, bro. But anyway, I was saying you're being silly. I guess men just think I'm dumb. I don't know what it I don't know what it is. Even the loving, gentle corrections. I'm like, you must think I'm an idiot. Not you, Infinite Content. I know you don't really think I'm an idiot, but y'all go into the mentions. Y'all see the tweet the Infinite Content sent me. He was like, Kim, you know that I'm so, Nigga, I know who you are. Niggas be silly. and it's me. I too am silly niggas. So we all in family together. Anyway, let me move along here. Oh, do I want to move? Yeah. We come back. I'm gonna plug the abortion fund after this story here. Let me get back to my doc because now I'm lost in the chat, looking at laughing with y'all, being silly billies. All right. So it's time. All right. Let me straighten up here because this is serious. And again, y'all, I have to tell you, I really do struggle with these. I struggle with these. I do struggle with these because I'm not here to bring everybody the fuck down. I'm not. But if we don't acknowledge when our people are taken from us, and if we don't loud up the thing about that, then I mean that weighs on my conscience. You feel me? I understand not wanting to be a killjoy, but at the same time, we do have business to attend to, and the only way we can do that is to be aware of the business that needs to be attended to. So, um, I'm not sure if you guys have heard. Maybe you now have heard because this has now become a national story. But 28-year-old Irvo Otieno, who was a young man out of Central Virginia, I think it's Dinwiddie, Virginia, near where. Anyway, I'll ask Will in a second because I'm sure he might be familiar with the area, but maybe he's not familiar with the story. So if you're not familiar with the story, let me bring you up to speed. So earlier this month, Irvo was experiencing a mental health crisis at his home. And the details that I've been able to gather to me just leave my mouth wide open in disbelief because it doesn't make any fucking sense. He was approached by police, I believe in his neighborhood, after a neighbor called police because they saw him allegedly picking up the neighbor's solar powered like walkway lights. The joints you just push into the ground, and when it gets dark, the lights come on. I mean, they're not expensive, right? Maybe what a pack of 10 is 20-30 bucks. Like, not pricey items, okay? So the police come and they determine that he's having a mental health crisis, and they put him under some sort of emergency hold order, and they take him to a mental health hospital. While I believe he's being processed into the hospital, what police say, Henrico County deputies say that the young man, quote, got combative. Now that's cop speak. I don't know what the fuck that means. Okay, because that could mean a lot of things. When black people raise their voice to be okay, and the fact that they used combative, they didn't say it was physically combative, they said combative. Okay. So Irvo allegedly became combative, according to police. And they took him away from the mental hospital and, in fact, took him to the Henrico County Jail, I believe, where it ended up that he was murdered by being held down by 7 deputies. He was smothered. The positional asphyxiation. How many times have we seen this as a method of murdering our people by police? If they don't outright shoot us, murder us, they suffocate us, they crush us, they deny us of breath, right? This is what appears to have happened to this young man. And now there have been some charges that have been levied. If you could pop up that article for me, Will. It's the right one. Yes, because in addition to the 7 deputies charged, now 3 hospital employees have been charged in the death of Irvo. Okay, so this is Dinwiddie County, but Henrico County plays into this as well. So now we're looking at a total of 10 people, including 3 Virginia mental health employees and 7 sheriff's deputies, have been charged with murder in the death of a 28-year-old black man. In a security video, yes, that is seen in the security video being pinned to the ground, according to officials. It said Irvo had been arrested by the Henrico Police on March the 3rd. Days later, on March the 6th, Henrico sheriff's deputies took him to Central State, which is a psychiatric hospital in Dinwiddie. They claimed that he became combative and that the deputies had to restrain him. They also went on to say that he was later declared dead. But hold on. See, this piece is omitting a couple of facts here. So Mr. Otieneo's case marks the latest example of a black man's in custody death that law enforcement has later came under scrutiny. So then this article goes on to talk about Tyree Nichols. Really, it could have talked about a couple of other people that have black people specifically who had ended up dead at the hands of Henrico County, either police or sheriff's deputies who are reported to be having a mental health crisis. I'd found the name of another man. Where did that go? Because I just wanted to mention their name real quick because I wasn't clear what the outcome was. But this young man's name was Malachi LeVar. Yep, Malachi LeVar Carroll. And he was gunned down by Henrico County Police. When I say this was last summer, July 2022. I wasn't able to find much follow up about that. But speaking about this case specifically, I mean, it is absolutely devastating and heartbreaking to see again another one of our folks. And again, this just seems to happen to our folks. Like last week's chat, when I was talking about Tucker Carlson, when I went back and read the chat, I saw so I assume they was whites. Maybe they was fucking FBI, COINTELPRO paid, whatever the fuck. But anyway, they was in there talking about, oh, y'all victim mongering and this, that, and the third. And it's like, when there are certain things that seem to only happen to black people, I mean, I can understand how racists can just very casually overlook that because, they believe that black people are inherently dangerous because that's what white supremacy and racism and generations of colonization have done to not only us, but them as well. But this only happens to us experiencing mental health crisis. I don't see the same stories. I don't. And if I do, about white folks experiencing mental health crisis and ending up a victim of police brutality or even worse, police murder, it's usually for circumstances far exceeding what happened to this young man. And let me go on here because again, the article was decidedly lacking some details here. I think I picked this link actually because there was a package attached to this that I did not send well because every local story that I saw pertaining to this coming out of the Richmond area, coming from the Richmond media, it keeps describing Irvo as a suspect slash inmate. And and I'm deep in confusion why he's being described that way. Number one, what he was initially charged with, the charge of burglary. Bullshit. I when I think of burglary, don't y'all think of someone literally coming into your house and taking your shit and leaving? Him walking around his neighbor's front yard, picking up the solar panel lights, the little stick in the ground lights that light up the pathway. Burglary? Is that what that is? Isn't that petty theft? I would think because of the value of the burglary. So again, the criminalization of this man continues even in the media, even after his when 10 people have been charged in his murder. The local media outlets kept calling him an inmate slash a suspect. And the chronology of what happened to this young man is very higgy because he was picked up on March the 3rd for again this mental health crisis with the neighbor's yard items. They took him to the hospital where the police said he became combative. And then the police tried to charge him or did charge him with, I believe, vandalism, disorderly conduct, and assault on a police officer, right? Excuse me, how is he being processed at the mental health center, the mental health hospital? How is he being processed at the mental health hospital catching fucking charges? Isn't the whole purpose of him being there indicates that he is in need of assistance? He is in need of professional psychiatric help. He is having some sort of crisis. So we're going to hold people who are experiencing mental health crisis inside of the mental hospital to the same standard of law as we would somebody that is behaving normally. Black people can't act out any fucking where, man. You can't even be breaking down at the mental hospital without the police looking for a reason to criminalize you and hem you up. And that's where the situation ended up going way worse is when he was transported. There we go. When he was transported to the Henrico County Jail or the Dinwiddie County Jail, wherever the fuck he went, that's when the issues began to happen. Because guess what? Jails are not the place where you treat people with mental health issues. Okay. I don't know what kind of issue Irvo was having, but I can imagine that a jail setting would not be the kind of thing that would make it any better. In fact, I can see it further traumatizing him, making his situation that much worse. So the video that is reported to have been seen by the family, and Ben Crump is representing the family as well. The video apparently is very bad. And even if the video was available, I still would not show that shit because I don't need to see it. What was described was terrible. They described Irvo as being completely nude, with his hands and feet shackled, and with one of the 7 deputies allegedly basically attacking him and knocking him out of the chair, and all of these motherfuckers basically falling on him and remaining on him for about a duration of about 12 minutes, smothering him to death. And the pictures of the folks, y'all, it's a mix. It's Virginia, Central Virginia. So it's white. We have whites and blacks, a good mix of whites and blacks. But when I saw those black people that are part of the 10 now that have been charged, all I could do was shake my head. I'm like, y'all motherfuckers don't even recognize the humanity in your own brother. Like, you don't even see him as human. And to me, just the way that this happened and the way that hearing him being naked and shackled, I'm like, this was somebody's like perverted dream to murder a black man in this way specifically. Like how could there not be one person in this entire scenario that would be like, no, y'all, get off him, get off him, get off him. He's had enough. Nobody said nothing. They waited till what? He stopped fucking moving. And then, oh, and then it's all after the fact. Oh, check his pulse. Oh, check to see if he's breathing. How the fuck is he supposed to breathe with 10 people on him? Anyway, I'm sorry. I want us to take a look, if we could, at a press conference. And we're not going to look at the whole thing because, hold on.
I need a minute, Kim. Can you give me a minute for that? Sorry.
So while we're waiting for Will to get the video from the press conference, um, and his mother, wait till you guys hear his mother speak. And I'm sure you've already seen it because I've seen tiny snatches of what she said when she said that her son was tortured, that they treated her son worse than a dog, and that her son was murdered. The part of the video that we're going to look at is when she's describing the kind of person that her son was. She's going to be describing about when they came to the US and the way that, he felt about being here and the way people felt about him being here. I mean, he sounded like an extremely pleasant young man who was just obviously experiencing some sort of crisis, but it just underscores again the need the need to build more jails as a solution to the mental health crisis, says Democrats, says Joe Biden, says Republicans. The need for police to be better trained to encounter people with mental health issues. Like, this is the sort of responses that I was seeing from elected officials. I think State Senator Creed Deeds, or they said, is Creed Deeds the senator or is he in the Virginia legislature? The package that I watched from the Richmond TV outlet, they interviewed Creed Deeds. Virginians know who Creed Deeds is. And that's the same shit he was saying. He was like, well, we just need to make sure that all police are trained and equipped to be crisis response experts and da da da. I'm like, no, how about we actually get crisis response experts, people who have training, education, field experience, clinical experience, dealing with those who are in crisis. The police don't have that capability. Okay. For those who do have a college degree, it's not in fucking psychology, psychology or psychiatry. It's usually in something like criminal justice. How do you keep reinforcing the status quo? Is what I assume they teach in criminal justice curriculum. Oh, how do we keep the status quo in place? Oh, there you go. This is how you uphold the law. I don't want police responding to people with mental health crisis. First and foremostly, I want us to stop calling the police on Black folks specifically, because it is Black folks whose lives are in danger and whose lives are at risk for police when they are acting out. And I hate to even use the term acting out, but that, because that's not what it is, right? They're having a mental health crisis. I get that. But what it looks like to the outside is a Black person acting out. And that's not allowed in society. That scares a lot of people. I was going to say white folks. It scares Black people too. And people would just want to call the police all willy-nilly on their own people, knowing what the possibility is. And I can't see how we've experienced so many of these people being murdered by cops when their loved ones were calling for help. Do people not see that this is a pattern, y'all? I mean, it's been a pattern, it's been an ongoing pattern, but it's been only the past few years that these kinds of stories actually make the rounds and make national attention. Like, have we seriously not got the memo? What's the kids say in the fucking old folks who want to sound cool? What did they say? Did we not get the assignment? Did we not understand the assignment? You know what I'm saying? And please direct me to the folks that are doing the political education specifically around this, about re-educating Black communities about what to do when our people are in mental health crisis. Because calling the police shouldn't even be on the fucking list. And it seems to be among the first, second things that people do. And I can understand sometimes people experiencing mental health crisis can be scary. Sometimes they can threaten to harm others or themselves. But that requires an expertise that I'm sure you, as a family member or a loved one, you've got more than that. You know how to handle them acting out better than the police who are armed with guns and who are scary little hoes who don't who jump when black people get loud. You can't call the police on your people, man. And I know I don't have to tell y'all that, but I need y'all to tell the others. I need y'all to tell the others to stop doing that shit. I wanted to say this also real quick about Ben Crump representing this family. Because, I told y'all I grew up a very reliable Democrat, right? Um, so all the things that go along with being a black Democrat, I used to subscribe to, right? And part of that is because, that's who my mama is. Okay. My mother's a big Al Sharpton fan. She was over here this week and I had to listen to Al Sharpton on the radio. I had to listen to Al Sharpton on the radio. I was not happy. But Sharpton was shouting out Ben Crump, obviously, because all the black misleaders roll together, and that's fine, whatever. But here, what I finally kind of figured out what my issue with Ben Crump is, okay? Because I don't think Ben Crump is inherently bad. Do I think he's a bad, evil man? No, I don't think he's a bad, evil man. Do I think that he is profiting off the worst kinds of black trauma? Yes, I do. When we spoke on Black Power Media on the Remix Morning Show to the family, to the mother of Kendrick Johnson down there in Valdosta, Georgia, and the look on her face and the sort of contempt in her voice when Ben Crump's name got brought up, it spoke volumes. And I recognize what his shtick is, kind of for what it is. Like if there's a potential for a multi-million-dollar lawsuit to be paid to a family from the city or state or police department, whatever, he's gonna be all about it. Okay. But when it comes to actually, hold on, Will,
Got the video, sir.
I appreciate it. So, but when it comes to actually doing things that change the system, that change this kind of repeated lynching by the state that happens to black people, when it comes to doing stuff that fundamentally changes that, that is where I don't see Ben Crump. He's a personal injury attorney, right? I think it's a misnomer that they even characterize him as a civil rights attorney. Al Sharpton on his show, Al Sharpton on his radio show called Ben Crump the Attorney General of Black America. I almost spit out my lemon water. I said, "What?" I said, "He's the what of what? What? I can't support anybody profiting off lynchings." And because Ben Crump is reliant upon this system, upon the system, upon the status quo of black people being murdered by the state and the opportunity to come in and sue the entity, responsible so the family gets a payout. I mean, his whole profit model is built upon that. And that to me is disgusting. That is macabre. That is gross. If he would dovetail that with, I don't know, fucking lobbying to get policies changed, supporting organizations within these specific cities where these police murders occur. I mean, because he's making a lot of money. Like he needs to be supporting organizers on the ground, not just a local chapter of the National Action Network. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to support the true grassroots folks there that have their finger on the pulse of the community that could actually get some shit done and accomplished. So that's kind of my issue with Ben Crump. Like, so long as niggas keep getting killed by the police, Ben Crump is going to have a stream of income. And is that how you want to make your money? I guess. But anyway, so I want us to take a listen to Irvo's mom, okay? And we are going to check out maybe about 3.5 minutes of this, okay? Because this woman, she spoke very firmly, she spoke decisively, but at the same time, clearly, she's speaking from a position of pain, hurt, and grief. But she was very clear in her message to the police, to the community, and she also shared the kind of person that her son was. And that's the part that I want us to hear, because I want us to hear about this young man, because usually so many of these clips are just chopped up in quick 5-second bites, 10-second bites. The news media just uses them to get what they want. I want to hear what this woman, what she wanted us to know about her son. So let's take a look at that video, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Caroline Ouko. Irvo Otieno is my son. Irvo was 4 years old when we came to the United States. Irvo went to kindergarten here in the United States, proceeded to Tuckahoe Elementary School and Freeman High School, and then went on to college in California. Irvo is as American as apple pie. This is what he knows. This is home for him. And when you're home, you are in a community. We live in a community. We have friends. This young man you see here had a big heart. Irvo was the guy that his classmates drew to. When they needed someone to talk to, he was the listener. He would take time to listen to them. And then he would take time to process and then lean back in. My son was a leader. He was not a follower. He also brought a different perspective to the table. If there was a discussion, he was not afraid to go the other way when everybody else is following. This was my baby. He cared for people. He cared that people were treated right. That was at the core of his upbringing in our home. He cared that people were treated equally. He would go to school when he was in middle school and invite that child who is eating alone over that table and say, man, come on, join in, let's eat together. He was kind. Even though Irvo was going through mental illness, what I saw today was heartbreaking America. It was disturbing. It was traumatic. My son was tortured, to put it right. I saw the torture. There is no way that Henrico County sheriff deputies were on him. 7 people, 7 officers on one man. And all this started when my son went to hospital on the 3rd. And that evening he was taken to jail, whisked from the back of the jail into the hospital. Those 3 days at Henrico County Jail were a horror. I've seen it on video. And I've seen more. But I'm here to mourn. And I'm mourning the life of this young man, my son. Mental illness should not be your ticket to death.
Right. Amen.
There was a chance to rescue him. There was a chance to stop what was going on. And I don't understand how all systems failed him.
All systems.
I don't understand why
There to say, I mean, Miss Caroline said a lot in that press conference, and then later on she gave the comments about her son being treated worse than a dog and how he was murdered. And it is a heartbreaking scene to see yet another family go through this and experience this. It'll be interesting to see whether or not these 10 people who are charged, I believe only 2 of the 7 deputies, with last time I checked, had actually made bond. Um, they were still keeping them locked up, which is interesting. I can't recall what was the bond asked for by prosecutors, but second degree murder, that ain't no little bond, I would imagine. Um, But now 3 of the hospital workers have been charged also. And it's like between what happened with Tyree Nichols and now this incident in Virginia, when our people become cops, like there has to be a part of them that absolutely suspends the recognition for humanity towards other black people. Again, I'm gonna keep referencing this Al Sharpton because again, my mother made me listen to Al Sharpton for like 2 hours, and I said, Mama, is there anything else on the radio? My mother said, No, it's Al Sharpton. Sharpton was talking about that a little bit. He talked about in New York during Giuliani. Renee, correct me if I'm misstating this. But when Giuliani was mayor, there was a bit of a push to get black people, black officers, as part of NYPD. According to Al Sharpton, Eric Adams was part of that push, which makes complete sense because if Eric Adams became NYPD under Giuliani, that makes exact sense why this nigga act just like Giuliani. This nigga act just like Giuliani. But regardless, and Sharpton said about the black officers being recruited to NYPD. And he said, and there was some, on the far left, some of the left radical brothers was calling these brothers in uniform pigs. I said, well, what else were they? what else should we call them? What else should we call them? If you are going to don the uniform of a slave catcher and then do slave catchery shit, you have earned the title of a pig, my guy. All skin folk ain't fucking kinfolk out here. Just because that is a black man or black woman inside of an NYPD or any sort of law enforcement uniform does not mean they're about to do right by black people. In fact, it likely means the opposite. It means they about to act just like they white field training officers taught them. To be harsh, to be violent, to give no consideration, to not listen to when black people are stating what their needs are and whatever they're experiencing in the moment. It is abhorrent. And I understand, you guys, signing up for the military and signing up to be cops is a way for black folks to use those public jobs, them good government jobs, as ladders into the middle class. I get it, man. But not if your soul is gonna go dark. not if all of a sudden you don't recognize the humanity in your brother or sister, your black brother or sister, or your brown brother or sister. That little bit of salary and pension and benefits ain't worth your soul, man. But I'm concerned, to be honest. Like, I'm hoping that there are going to be convictions again. I hate to put any sort of faith in the system to get justice for black folks, whatever in the world that means or whatever in the world that looks like. I mean, the beating death of Tyree Nichols by the Memphis police officers, all those black officers, and now a racially mixed group of folks charged with second-degree murder here in Henrico County, Virginia. I don't know if we're going to get convictions on all these, y'all. But because there's black folks on trial, we might. We might get all convictions. All of a sudden, the system recognizes where these officers had dereliction of duty and recognizes their criminal actions. And yes, will likely punish them. But the system has to be changed, y'all. Like, I don't want police to be trained in crisis response shit because that's not the basis of that's not the foundation of any of their education. That's just an 8-hour class that they take on the weekends. You know what I'm saying? To quote unquote learn how to respond to someone experiencing a mental health crisis. But I know that training gets applied differently depending on who's experiencing the mental health crisis, right? So it doesn't solve the problem of racially biased policing. It doesn't solve the problem of black people who are experiencing a mental health crisis ending up dead when their family or their loved ones call 911 for help. What can we do to stop that? There has to be a separate response team, period. Like, period, point blank, unarmed or armed with non-lethal things. I don't even know if I want them to be armed with anything, actually. Anybody experiencing a mental health crisis, I mean, what the fuck? I'm sure the last thing they want is to be pepper sprayed, right? But you shouldn't be coming at them with combativeness and make them trying to get them to physically resist. What you want them to do is to relax. If they're threatening self-harm or harming others, what can we do to de-escalate? Why do we even need to take them anywhere? Maybe they can receive all of the counseling and the treatment that they require right there in their homes. But you're not going to have that if you keep giving the police millions and billions of dollars. Fuck this system, y'all. Fuck this shit. I want us to be like France and burn the fucking shit down. And I want us to be like France and have the state afraid of us. Because our people are dying out here. Miss me, like Sister Jackie say, dog, and Kamal said it too. Miss me with all you talk about, oh, we got to stop the nuclear war. Nigga, black people are being murdered right here in America every single fucking day. Whether or not Russia drops a nuclear bomb on us, well, then I guess we all dying together then, as opposed to us dying, and as opposed to a segment of us dying more often via different violent means. Let us all go together, shall we? Fuck out my goddamn face. Anyway, damn, it's 8:15. I just sat here and ran my mouth. My apologies. Y'all still in here? All right. Y'all be easy. Okay. All right, real quick. Will, throw up the abortion fund what's it, if you could, guys, cause it's March. Every month we are supporting an abortion fund. Why do we have to support the abortion fund, class? Because bitches do not have rights. That is correct. Bitches do not have rights in America. In half the states in America, women, pregnant people who have the ability to become pregnant, do not have any autonomous decisions about what to do with their body. So we have to do what we can to help. Every month, this channel, put that back up there, Will. Put that back up there. Every month, this channel sends $50 to a different abortion fund anywhere in the country, to be honest, because we send money to funds in abortion restrictive states, but also abortion friendly states, because a lot of the abortion funds in places, say like Maryland or Illinois, are using their abortion fund money to help accommodate those coming from the South, those coming from the upper Midwest, Ohio, Indiana. Their laws on abortion are insanity. So this month, it's the abortion Reproductive Freedom Fund. Let's get it. Shout out to the good sister Jalisa, who joined us on the Remix Morning Show on Thursday, who is, I believe, from the Arc Southeast in Georgia. But she talked about the Mississippi Reproductive Freedom Fund. She said some things that hit on a lot of stuff we've talked about here on Burn It Down with Kim Brown. So that felt really nice. But anyway, so the Mississippi Reproductive Freedom Fund is our fund this month. We are donating $50. We ask that you guys are able, if you're able, to join us in matching $5 to the Mississippi Freedom Fund. Shout out to Marissa, who Venmo'd us a donation and designated it for the abortion fund. Marissa, we will apply that when we send our donation at the end of the month. Thank you so much for doing that. And again, if you want to send money and you want to send it through me, that's fine. But you got to say something. You got to put a note on that joke, because I'm going to put it in my pocket if you don't. So the Mississippi Reproductive Freedom Fund, that is who we are supporting this month. $50 here. We ask $5 or more from the Fire Familia. If you want to find the Mississippi Reproductive Freedom Fund, directly go to the chat box at the top of the chat. It's in our link tree. We have the link directly to the Mississippi Reproductive Freedom Fund. I don't know why I say these joints like like I'm introducing a rapper. The Mississippi Reproductive Freedom Fund. Yeah, I want us to get excited about the abortion funds, because, hey, these folks are doing incredible work. And dare I say, it's risky work, depending on where you are. So, yeah, we're going to get hyped for the Abortion Freedom Fund, Reproductive Freedom Fund. Yeah. So, anyway. Thank you for that, Will. Thank you. And last but not least, before we push out of here, I'm going to try to get through this. I'm going to try to get through this rather quickly, because I feel the need to talk about this, because I see things happening with this entire debate, and the way that it's being presented and framed by the mainstream is just fucking hilarious. Because when I went on TikTok to get the temperature on TikTok about what TikTokers felt about the possibility of the app being banned from the United States as all this rhetoric and anti China rhetoric continues to heat up from the Biden administration and the GOP, which of course, Joe Biden is the Republicans' bestest friend. They're going to be in lockstep pretty much about most things, including this issue of banning TikTok. Now, Will, pop up that Reuters piece if you could for me, because the ban the TikTok bill, that's not what it's called, but you might as well call it that. The ban the TikTok bill made it out of House committee, and it's on its way, doing its thug thing, about to make its way to the U.S. Senate. Reuters got the story. 6 more U.S. senators on Friday, that would be today, backed bipartisan legislation to give President Joe Biden new powers to ban the Chinese-owned video app TikTok on national security grounds, as the company ramped up efforts to make its case ahead of a hearing next week. And it says this month, 12 senators led by Democrat Mark Warner and Republican John Toon unveiled legislation backed by the White House to give the Commerce Department, plot twist, to give the Commerce Department new powers to regulate TikTok, which has more than 100 million US users. A very important number to note there, gang. Reuters goes on to say, it says TikTok's critics fear that its American user data could be passed on to China's government. I'm sorry, hold on. Let me straighten up. Could be passed on to China's government by the app, which is owned by the Chinese tech company ByteDance, which is a really cute name for a data collection company, but whatever. The Senate Commerce Committee chair, who is that, Maria Cantwell, told Reuters that she thinks most senators agree with the Warner-Thune bill, giving the administration new authority to review the security issues surrounding TikTok. It's only security issues surrounding TikTok, huh? It's only TikTok that got the security issues, huh? Uh-huh. Okay. So wait, hold on. Let's get that. Let me get back. It says this week, TikTok said that the Biden administration demanded that TikTok's Chinese owners divest their stake in the app or could face a US ban. Now, that is a challenge. That is a throw the gauntlet down kind of moment. Because I know what I'm hoping that TikTok does. but we get to that in a second. But no, y'all, this is basically bipartisan. Like the Republicans and the Democrats are united in this. Biden seems to be headed towards this, they have very favorable leanings towards this legislation, which, by the way, which began the issue or the mission to block or ban TikTok in the US, started under the Trump administration. Yep, Donald Trump said, we got to ban the TikTok. We got to ban it. It's bad. And isn't it just amazing? The synchronicity sometimes that has lined up between the Biden administration and the Trump administration just seems like they have a lot in common. And it seems that they have more in common than they would like to admit. Isn't that interesting? So, both Republicans and Democrats are and in the Congress and in the White House, past and present, are agreed that free speech doesn't mean anything, that censorship is totally acceptable and okay, and they are completely willing to be overt hypocrites when it comes to this issue about user data and protecting national security, which is absolute bullshit. I'm gonna let this white man that I found on TikTok, my guy went off, and hold on, let me go back to the chat because I need y'all to confirm something for me. And I hate to even admit this, and let me I'm gonna say this, and I'm not intending to offend anyone, but I have to say, this look of like white men like 35 to 45 in glasses and beards, I'm having a hard time telling them apart. Okay, I'm having a difficult time distinguishing amongst the white men's who sport this particular look. And I looked at this man and I said, now that could either be Matt Walsh or Jordan Cheriton. I don't know who this is. I said, let me fingers crossed. Let me hope that it's not Matt Walsh. let me hope I'm not about to put a fucking clip of Matt Walsh on my channel where I'm agreeing with this motherfucker. But I don't think this is Matt Walsh. I think this is a white man sporting this look, and I cannot tell them apart. So my deepest apologies to any white man sporting this look. I don't think y'all all look alike. I just think the ones that put this look together, they definitely look alike. So Will, let's run this joint. My man's is mad. My man's is mad, and points were made. Points were made. Let's take a listen.
Explain it to me, Joe. I want you to explain it to me. Why the sudden move to ban TikTok? Why is there such a rush for this all of a sudden? Explain it to me. Because out of everything that's happened in the last fucking 2 years of your presidency, this is one of the few things you moved quick on. The train, it took you a week. Train exploded, and you're the train guy, took you a fucking week. Inflation out of control, we still haven't fucking dealt with it. A bank went under that rich people use, took you 72 hours to clean that one up, but TikTok seems to be a big one for you. So explain it to me, because I just got home from fucking dinner, and I open up, and I'm looking at the Wall Street Journal, and it says, U.S. threatens ban if TikTok's Chinese owners don't sell steaks. So explain to me why. I want to know why you want to ban TikTok so bad. Is it because of the ownership? The foreign ownership? You don't want foreign ownership in media? Because I'm reading this on the Wall Street Journal, which is owned by an Australian billionaire. Rupert Murdoch, an Australian billionaire, owns the Wall Street Journal. He also owns Fox News, the same TV channel and website that pushed that you're an illegitimate president. Is that foreign manipulation of the media? And I got the link to this from Twitter, which is owned by a South African madman. What's the line? What's the line here, Joe? Because I can also go follow all this back to Facebook, which is run by a reptilian from the fucking hollow earth, Mark Zuckerberg. Okay? This is just a series of psychopaths who own our media. We know this. You're gonna claim it's the data? Joe, if the Chinese want our data, they can just fucking buy the data on the free market that we love so much. The data is out there. It's been for sale for fucking 25 years. The first day somebody figured out how to sell the data, it was for fucking sale. What is it? You want to claim it's because you're afraid they're spying on us through the app? Then Joe, ban every electronic device for sale on Amazon. All of those devices are made in China. How are we not sure that they're not listening to us through our Amazon Alexas, our Google Home, or even Apple Siri? How do we know, Joe? We'll never be fucking safe. Figure out a way, Joe, to explain this if you're gonna fucking explain it. If you're gonna do this shit and convince the people that you're not trying to fucking silence all of us from speaking to each other and finally seeing each other's lives for the first time and not just reading angry tweets from each other like we did for the last fucking 10 years. We're not going back to blogs. We're not going back to fucking Instagram. Explain to the people what you're gonna fucking do, or you're gonna end up with a lot more people looking angry as fuck like me.
That was good. That was lovely. I love that righteous indignation. Yes. And we've got some confirmation in the chat that no, that was not Matt Walsh, right? Are we united on that? Could have been fucking Matt Walsh for all the fuck I know. Will, pop up the New York Post piece for me, please, if you can. This is just really just for the headline, and the New York Post couldn't really fuck this up too bad. But yeah, you heard it. It was TikTok has 100 million US users. There are 1 billion global users of TikTok. TikTok is killing the game. Now, I don't do the TikTok all that, just because I'm at my saturation point when it comes to these social media apps. Like, I don't need a fucking another thing that I need to check. Okay, there's enough already to check here. But when it comes to market share, TikTok apparently has got these niggas scared, right? And just look at the numbers, look at the evidence. This headline, this week? Yeah, buddy. Meta, aka Facebook, Meta confirms another 10,000 layoffs after firing 11,000 back in November. And this is what a lot of people really believe this whole issue of banning TikTok is about. It doesn't have jack shit to do with fucking national security. It doesn't have any goddamn thing to do with protecting Americans' privacy and data, because we know that shit has been sold, resold, sold again. We've had data breach after data breach from not only these social media companies, but giant corporations like Target and Macy's and whatever you want to call the banks, as well as had these giant data breaches exposing users' sensitive information, social security cards, passwords, whatever the fuck. Dog, they just had a data breach here in DC. The DC healthcare exchange was breached, and user data, including some Congress people and congressional staffers, had like they for real data exposed, address, social security numbers, like a major data breach. Like, we don't want to hear this shit that all of a sudden China is the threat to Americans' privacy. China is the ones who wants to get their hands on Americans' data. The data has been gotten, Mr. President. And so, as you see, Meta having some difficulties laying off thousands, tens of thousands of workers, as we saw the same thing happen late last year with Twitter. Google has also announced layoffs in the thousands. Why are these tech companies having so much trouble? It seems as though every other industry in America seems to be gaining jobs. The pace we might, can debate or disagree about the rate at which some certain sectors are adding jobs, but tech appears to be hemorrhaging jobs more so than everybody else. Now, why is that? Well, because TikTok is beating that ass into the ground. And TikTok is making hand over fist money. So much so that I can't speak to the science, whatever the fuck, that goes into the algorithm. I do not know. But what I do know is I've seen Facebook / Instagram / Google YouTube try to bite TikTok style. This whole shorts thing on YouTube, is that not TikToks? The reels on Instagram that Instagram demand that you make. They even turn your lives into reels that they demanded. Jocking they style all on TikTok's Johnson. Can you get off TikTok's dick, Facebook? Can you get off his dick, YouTube? That's the problem. So Zuckerberg and the like have paid their congressional lobby bill, clearly, right? And this money is being put to very quick use to the fact that the tech lobby, the tech industry, the social media lobby could, in fact, get the US Congress and the president to sign off on an outright ban of its biggest competition. Isn't that a bitch? Under the guise of national security and data protection. Ain't that a bitch? Nigga, we ain't secure, nor is our shit protected. But y'all seem to be firing people, and people seem to be losing their jobs. And some of that revenue and ad money that used to go to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, etc., seems to be going to TikTok, and they don't like it. So this is a plan. This is a long, sinister plot to get TikTok the fuck up out the paint. And again, let me be clear here. I'm not saying that TikTok is a good actor. I think that social media, period, is psychologically harmful to all, including children. But every study that you see about the ways in which social media is harmful to the development of young minds and the way that young people perceive and view themselves, assume all of that shit is also applied to adults. Okay, like I don't like how they just like to frame that. Oh, it makes teen girls feel bad. Nigga, it makes grown women feel bad. Okay, all of it bad. So TikTok to me is not necessarily a good actor in any of this. But I recognize some hating ass niggas when I see them. And Facebook and Google and Twitter are some hating ass niggas on TikTok. And here's what I really hope happens. Let me be clear. I really hope that the ban goes through. I hope China or ByteDance chooses not to divest, because again, this ain't about money. You know what I mean? It is about money, I think, on the US side, but they got so much money over in China. Like, Are they going to miss the money that they would be making, or they could just take the payment from the when forced to divest? And let me say this also. Hold on, let me stop. At the end of the day, y'all, something's going to happen here. Okay, either ByteDance is going to sell to a U.S. firm and have whatever the fuck Biden and them is asking for, that it basically comes out of Chinese control and gets operated by a U.S. based interest. Okay, either that's going to happen or the ban is going to happen. There is not going to be a no action taken here. Something is going to change with TikTok, either its operations or its availability in the US. And I'm telling you, I have a feeling that if you ban this app that has 100 million users, not to mention the influencers and people who actually derive their livelihood from TikTok and their success on TikTok, etc., I think every person in this country between the ages 9 and 29 is going to take to the streets. They're going to say, what the fuck is this? We don't have TikTok no more. This is bullshit. And that could be what starts a bit of a cultural revolution. I think the kids will be very angry that they will feel as though their content has been intentionally censored from them, that an application that allows them to express themselves and do all the different subgenres of TikTok, they're going to feel personally attacked by that, because so much of younger people, I believe, so much of their identity is caught up in their online persona. And if they themselves are not able to do that or be that, or if their fan bases are not able to access them in the same way, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. Now, I know Americans have very short memories, and they'll probably get over that shit and then start making shorts on YouTube. Pop up that Business Insider article, if you could, for me, Will, because that is something similar that happened. Because, by the way, TikTok is also banned in India, which I did not know until today. This happened back in 2020, I believe, where TikTok got banned in India because there was a border conflict on the Indo-China border. And India got mad and said, "Fuck this shit." Said, "No, how about we take away TikTok? How about we take away this one?" They took away, I believe, dozens of Chinese apps. They took away Indians' ability to access these Chinese apps within India. And what it found was, or at least the what has happened since, has been a big migration back to Meta, back to Instagram, back to YouTube. So I have a feeling that this ban, all of the saber rattling about this ban, ultimately is at the behest of the social media industry and Silicon Valley. I don't think this is a national security threat at all. And I think it's being framed that way so that people will continue to buy into and feed into the anti-China rhetoric, the drumbeat of war that we are clearly walking towards when it comes to some sort of military engagement with Russia and China, like straight up, not the proxy shit that's going on in Ukraine. Like, it's going to be, Rocky versus Dolph Lundgren. It's going to be Sylvester Stallone versus Dolph Lundgren. It's going to be Rocky 4 for real. Yeah, that's what they want. This is all part of that rhetoric, and this is part of the continued manufacturing of anti-China rhetoric and viewing China as our enemy. But I'm glad to see at least there are some people within the app, on the app, that are looking past that clearly see this for what it is. And I'm I'm a little bit impressed with Americans at the moment, especially TikTok users, for peeping game early on and recognizing that this is absolute nonsense coming from the Biden administration. This is just another attempt at censorship. Look at what happened with Russia Today and the Russian media outlets on YouTube and on the airwaves and different places. This is just continued censorship of media and or social media that is not US based. They want to be able to control everything. They don't want China to have access to shit. They don't want China to be able to do the same shit that Facebook and Twitter and Google has been doing since the advent of the internet, correct? Since the advent of these companies. The fact that China is possibly doing it, which they probably are, is very bothersome. It doesn't have anything to do with security. It's everything to do with power. There's everything to do with access. So like I said, I don't even think this has anything to do with money, to be honest. I mean, it has something to do with money. I'm talking about on behalf of the Chinese, but it does have something to do with money coming from Silicon Valley because they see their money drying up and going to TikTok. So they had to pay their congressional lobbyists. Their congressional lobbyists had to pay their Congress people and pay the committee chairs and this, that, and the third. And now we have this ball rolling. So be watching out for the outcome of this potentially next week. You're going to see a U.S. president ban a social media company for doing the same shit that American-based social media companies do every single day. Every single day. But just remember, China's our enemy. Scary China. Don't be scared of China. I'm not scared of China. China ain't never did shit to me. And I know Chinese are not perfect. And I know there's some anti-blackness and shit going on amongst some Chinese. But I ain't worried about China. China's not coming around my neighborhood shooting up people that are having mental health crises. China's not patrolling and over policing my neighborhoods. China's not letching off pollutants and shit in the air and deregulating everything under the sun here in America. I know who the fuck my enemy is, and it is not the Chinese, nor is it the Russians, okay? My enemies live really close. They live really close. I don't have to look far for them at all, but I damn sure don't have to look across the world to find out who is actually doing the most harm to me and my people. Spoiler alert, it is not China. It is not Russia. It's right here. The killer is calling from inside the house. All right, guys. Will said, fuck you, buddy. So I'm out. So thank you all so much for doing this extra long sitting with me. You guys have been here a while, and I appreciate y'all taking the time to chill out and let me get these thoughts off. So thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Nadia. Thank you, Tasia, for being here. Tressa, thank you so much for being here. Donnie, Northern Witch, I love you. Warren, thank you. Appreciate to see you, Warren. Latif, as always, please give my mods love. Big up to Latif and Courtney. Shout out to Chuck Diesel. Of course, what's up, Troy? I see you in here. What's up, Holly? What's up, Wendy? Let me shout out to Shirley. I ain't seen Shirley in here in a minute. Shout out to Shirley. Shout out to Black Magic. Who else? There was somebody else. There's always a lot of somebody else's. Big up to Alicia. Shout out to Valley Girls. Who else do I Quaker, of course. Vesper. Ooh, what's up? What's up? Who is that? Ah! Oh, of course, shout out to Ursula and Damien. Hey, Andrew, what's going on? We got some new people in here. Who are y'all? What's up, Kofi? Hey, man, I'm glad to see new names and faces in here, but y'all know I be jumpy and shit because, the right wing will find over here and come and spoil our little Black Panther party, and I don't be appreciating that shit. So anyway, when I see new names, sometimes I'm like, who the fuck is that? But anyway, welcome. So long as you're not bad mind, welcome, welcome, welcome. So anyway, good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy St. Patrick's Day again. On behalf of Will and Molly, we will check y'all on Tuesday, y'all. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Deuces.